I was filling prescriptions at Riverside Regional when I saw my wife's name on the order, prenatal vitamins, 12 weeks along. We hadn't touched each other in 4 months. Tuesday afternoon, the usual rush. Cedar Falls, Montana, population 8,200, and our hospital is the only one for 50 miles. I've been director of pharmacy here for 26 years. Started as a pharmacy tech at 25, worked my way through school, worked my way up. This hospital, this town, it's been my whole adult life. I know every patient who walks through that pharmacy window. The prescription came through the system at 2:47 p.m. I was at the counter counting out blood pressure medication for Mrs. Henderson from the hardware store. The computer beeped. New order. Hayes, Jennifer M., my wife. Prenatal vitamins with DHA, 90-day supply. Gestational age, 12 weeks. The bottle was amber plastic, that medical orange that says prescription only. I filled it mechanically. My hands knew what to do even when my brain was trying to catch up. The pills rattled when I put the cap on, 90 capsules in a plastic bottle, 3 months worth. The label printer hummed. Jennifer's name appeared in that blocky pharmacy font I'd been reading for 26 years. There's a specific smell to prenatal vitamins. Faintly fishy from the omega-3, the DHA for fetal brain development. Clinical, professional. I'd filled thousands of these prescriptions over the years. New mothers, excited fathers, asking questions about side effects and when to take them. But this one had my wife's name, 12 weeks pregnant. I set the bottle on the counter. Melissa Rodriguez, my pharmacy supervisor, was working beside me. 34, been with me for 6 years. She noticed the label. "Oh," she said. "Should I congratulate you?" I couldn't answer. Because I'm a pharmacist, I understand biology. I understand gestational timing and conception dates. 12 weeks ago was mid-December. Christmas was coming. The hospital had its holiday party. Jennifer worked the night shift that week. Said she was covering for someone who wanted time with family. We haven't been intimate since November. 4 months ago. I'm a pharmacist. I understand biology. This prescription wasn't just medication. It was a diagnosis. Melissa was still looking at me, waiting. The pharmacy window was full of patients. The fluorescent lights hummed. Everything was normal. Everything was the same as 5 minutes ago, except it wasn't. "I'll deliver it to her," I said. My voice sounded flat, strange. "She's working today." I finished Mrs. Henderson's blood pressure medication, handed it through the window with the usual smile, the usual reminder to take it with food. Professional, normal. Then I picked up Jennifer's prescription. The bottle fit in my palm, heavy with implications. The ER was in the West Wing. 3 minutes through hospital corridors that smelled like disinfectant and institutional coffee. I passed Dr. Patricia Reeves, our chief of staff, in the hallway. She nodded. "Thomas? Patricia?" Normal. Everything normal. The ER was busy. 2 nurses at the station, 1 EMT restocking supplies. Jennifer was at the computer, typing notes. Her dark hair pulled back the way she always wore it for work. 49 years old. We met in high school. Married at 22. Raised our daughter Rachel on opposite shifts. Me days, her nights. So one of us was always home. 27 years. She looked up when I approached, smiled, that same smile I'd known since she was 17. "Hey," she said, "what brings you up here?" I set the prescription bottle on her desk. The amber plastic caught the fluorescent light. "You left this at the pharmacy window." She glanced at it. Her smile didn't change, didn't falter. She just picked up the bottle, looked at the label, and set it in her purse under the desk. "Thanks," she said. "I was going to grab it at end of shift." "Jennifer." "Yeah?" "We need to talk." She checked the ER board behind her. 2 patients waiting, 3 in rooms. "I'm kind of busy right now, Thomas. Can it wait until—" "No." Something in my voice made her stop typing. She looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw it then. The moment she understood that I understood. "Break room," she said quietly. "Give me 2 minutes." The ER break room was a converted storage closet. 1 table, 4 chairs, a coffee maker that burned everything, a small refrigerator covered in staff schedules. I stood by the table. My coffee mug was there from this morning. White ceramic with hand-painted stick figures. 2 people holding hands. Rachel had made it when she was 8 years old at one of those paint-your-own pottery places. World's best team, written in careful child handwriting, each letter a different size. I'd been drinking from that mug every morning for 18 years. Jennifer came in and closed the door, turned the blinds on the window. "Okay," she said. "So, you know." Just like that. No denial, no explanation, just, "So, you know." "How long?" I asked. "Does it matter?" "How long, Jennifer?" She crossed her arms, leaned against the door. 10 months since last May. 10 months, while I was saying we're a team every morning, while we were planning Rachel's medical school graduation party, while I was covering overnight shifts so she could have weekends off. "Who?" I asked, though I already knew. "Mike." Dr. Michael Caldwell, Chief of Emergency Medicine, hired 3 years ago from Denver, 46 years old, impressive credentials, the kind of doctor who gets written up in the local paper, Jennifer's boss. "I'm pregnant," she added, matter of fact. 16 weeks. The prescription says 12. I started prenatal vitamins late. I was deciding what to do. What to do, like it was a problem to be solved. "Does he know?" "Yes." "And?" She shifted her weight. "It's complicated, Thomas." "No," I said. "It's actually very simple. You had an affair. You're pregnant with his child. Don't be clinical about this. It's not just biology, it's..." She stopped, took a breath. "Look, I know this is hard, but I need you to listen, really listen." I picked up the coffee mug. The ceramic was cold. The stick figures stared up at me. "Mike and I," Jennifer said, "it happened. The night shifts, the stress, the ER. We connected. It wasn't planned, but here we are. I'm pregnant. And I've thought about this a lot, Thomas, about what's best for everyone." "For everyone?" "This is a small town," she said. "People talk. You know they do. Everyone knows us. Everyone knows our family. Rachel's graduation party is in 6 weeks. 200 people are invited. The whole community. Can you imagine what this would do? The scandal. Rachel starting her residency with everyone in Cedar Falls knowing her mother. Had an affair. Don't say it like that." "What should I say it like?" She met my eyes. What I saw there wasn't guilt. It was determination. "I need you to step up," she said. The words hung in the small room. The coffee maker gurgled. Somewhere in the ER, a monitor was beeping. "Step up," I said slowly. "Yes, accept this. Be the father. Let everyone believe this baby is ours. Mike can't. His career, his position, his wife." "His wife?" "They're separated. It's complicated. But the point is, I need you to do what's right for our family. For Rachel. For our reputation. This is a small town, Thomas. People talk. You want everyone knowing our business?" I stared at her. At this woman I'd known for 32 years, married for 27. "You want me to raise another man's child," I said, "and pretend it's mine." "I want you to think about what's best for this family. We're a team, remember? That's what we've always been. A team. Teams adapt. Teams do what's necessary." I set the coffee mug down. It made a soft clink. The stick figures holding hands seemed to blur. "This is a small town," Jennifer said again. "People talk. You really want to be the guy whose wife left him? You want Rachel coming home to divorced parents and town gossip?" She stepped closer, put her hand on my arm. "We can get through this," she said. "Together. 27 years, Thomas. That means something. This baby, it's just a baby. You're good with kids. Rachel adores you. This could be a new chapter for us." I looked down at her hand on my arm. at the wedding ring she was still wearing, at the coffee mug with the stick figures. I need to get back to work. I said, don't overthink this. Don't make it bigger than it is. This is just life. We deal with it. Together. I walked out of the break room, through the ER, down the corridor to the stairwell. The stairwell was empty. Concrete walls, metal railings, the echo of my footsteps. My phone buzzed. Rachel! Dad! Guess what? Just got confirmation for the party venue. Community Center is all set for April 26th. Mom said she's working on a slideshow, 27 years of love. She called it, can't wait for everyone to celebrate with you guys. Love you. 27 years of love. I sat down on the steps. The phone screen blurred. For 27 years, I'd believed in certain things. Marriage was a promise. We're a team meant something. The woman who wore my ring and raised my daughter was my partner. I'd believed I knew her. I didn't understand how someone could do this and then ask me to step up, like I was the one failing. At 6 p.m., my shift ended. I drove home alone. Our house on Maple Street, 3 blocks from hospital, same house for 26 years. I knew every creak in the floorboards, every crack in the ceiling. I made dinner, reheated pasta, ate at the kitchen table with the news playing. Normal Wednesday evening, except nothing was normal. After dinner, I went to the bedroom closet for my winter coat and saw something I hadn't seen in years. My high school Letterman jacket, maroon and gold wool, Cedar Falls mountain lions, Hayes 85 embroidered on the back the year I graduated. The leather sleeves were worn soft, creased at the elbows. I pulled it out. It smelled like cedar chest storage, like time preserved. I tried it on. It still fit. After 33 years, the jacket still fit. The wool was heavy on my shoulders, substantial. The leather creaked when I moved my arms. The brass buttons were tarnished but solid. I was 18 when I wore this last. Before Jennifer. Before I learned to make myself small to keep the peace. The jacket still fit. Maybe I did too. Maybe I still fit in my own skin. I hung it back in the closet, but I left it at the front now, where I could see it. Then I went to my home office and opened a blank document. Started writing down dates. May 2024, Jennifer starts requesting Tuesday and Thursday night shifts. June. Mentions Dr. Caldwell a lot. Says he's really changing the culture. July, working later, comes home at 2 a.m. instead of midnight. August, too busy for anniversary trip. September, stops wearing the Silver Cross necklace I gave her, says it's too old-fashioned. November, last time we were intimate. December. Volunteers for extra holiday shifts. Spends the Christmas party talking to Dr. Caldwell. January, seems happier, more energetic. February, talks about needing to make changes. March, I fill her prenatal prescription. 10 months. I'd been blind for 10 months. No, not blind, willfully ignorant. Because seeing meant everything would change. The next morning, Thursday, I went to work early, 5 a.m. The hospital at dawn was peaceful, just the night shift winding down, soft beeps of monitors. I made coffee in the pharmacy break room, sat at my desk. The wedding photo was there, silver frame, tarnished edges, Jennifer and me on the church steps, June 1998. Both 22 years old. I in a rented tux, she in a simple white dress. We looked so young, so certain. I turned the frame face down on my desk. At lunch, I went to the administration office, asked for staff schedule records, said I needed them for pharmacy coordination. The clerk printed them without question. I'm director of pharmacy. I have access. I took the printouts back to my office, spread them on my desk. Blue and white printed grids, 3 months' worth. Handwritten shift changes in the margins. I traced the pattern with my finger. Every Tuesday for the last 10 months, Jennifer switched to night shifts 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Dr. Caldwell worked the same nights. Every Thursday, same thing. 38 Tuesdays, 38 Thursdays, 76 shifts where my wife and her lover worked together overnight. This wasn't an affair that just happened. This was scheduled. That evening, I went home early, told Melissa I wasn't feeling well. In the laundry room, I found Jennifer's scrubs in the hamper. Hospital policy was to wash work clothes separately. I went through the pockets, old tissues, a pen, a grocery receipt, and her spare hospital ID badge, white plastic card, Jennifer's photo, smiling, professional. Jennifer M. Hayes, RN, ER charge nurse, barcode on the back, magnetic security chip. I held it in my hand. The plastic was slightly warm from being in her pocket. The photo stared up at me. I made a decision. At 9 p.m., I drove back to the hospital. Used my ID badge to get in. Pharmacy director has after-hours access. The building was quiet, night shift, skeleton crew. I went to the computer lab on the 3rd floor, logged into the hospital system with my credentials. Then I used Jennifer's badge to access the employee health records. I knew I was crossing a line. This was technically against HIPAA regulations, but I had to know. I pulled up Dr. Michael Caldwell's file, and there it was. Access log. Jennifer M. Hayes had viewed this file 3 times in the last 6 months. January 15th, February 3rd, March 1st. HIPAA violations are federal offenses. Healthcare workers accessing records without legitimate medical reason can lose their licenses, can face criminal charges, can destroy their careers. My wife wasn't just having an affair, she was committing crimes to maintain it. I logged out, cleared the search history, sat in the dark computer lab with Jennifer's badge in my hand. The plastic clicked when I set it on the desk. The sound echoed in the empty room. Jennifer had said, "This is a small town. People talk. You want everyone knowing our business?" She was using the town as a weapon, using my fear of scandal, using Rachel's party, using everything I cared about to manipulate me into accepting the unacceptable. "Step up," she'd said, like I was the one failing, but I wasn't failing. I was waking up. The badge sat on the desk. Evidence, proof. Not just of an affair, but of systematic deception, professional misconduct, federal crimes. I picked it up, put it in my pocket, and I drove home. Friday morning, the hospital held its weekly staff meeting. 45 people, 12 doctors, 28 nurses, 15 support staff crammed into the conference room. Dr. Patricia Reeves stood at the front, running through the usual agenda. Budget updates, new protocols, staffing changes. I sat in the back row. Jennifer sat 3 rows ahead, next to the other ER nurses. I watched the back of her head, her dark hair pulled into that same ponytail. Professional, composed, like nothing had changed. I'd brought my coffee mug, the world's best team mug Rachel made, held it like an anchor. The ceramic was warm in my hands. Dr. Reeves was wrapping up. "Any announcements before we adjourn?" Jennifer raised her hand, stood up, smiled at the room. "I just wanted to share some personal news," she said. "I'm pregnant, 12 weeks. I know it's a surprise. Thomas and I weren't planning on this, but we're excited." The room erupted. Congratulations from every direction. Nurses hugging Jennifer. Doctors shaking hands across rows. Dr. Reeves beaming. "That's wonderful news. Congratulations to both of you." Everyone turned to look at me, smiling, waiting for my reaction. I lifted my coffee mug slightly, nodded, tried to smile. Dr. Caldwell sat in the front row, chief of emergency medicine, 46 years old, expensive suit, confident posture. He caught my eye across the conference room and raised his own coffee cup, a toast. He was toasting me for raising his child. After the meeting, Melissa found me in the pharmacy. "Boss, I didn't know you guys were trying. That's amazing." "It's complicated," I said. She nodded slowly, perceptive enough not to push. "Well, congratulations anyway." I spent the afternoon filling prescriptions, professional, normal. But I kept thinking about that toast, Caldwell's casual arrogance, the assumption that I'd fall in line. For 27 years, every morning before work, Jennifer and I would say to each other, "We're a team." Every night coming home, "We're a team." It was our thing, our promise, our identity. Maybe you had a phrase like that too. something you believed defined your relationship. If you've ever realized the person you trusted most was playing a completely different game, just type team in the comments. You're not alone in this. That evening, I drove 20 miles out of town to my brother Benjamin's ranch. He was waiting on the porch with coffee. Ben is 48, 3 years younger than me, raises cattle, keeps to himself, but he's steady, the kind of person who shows up. We sat on the porch as the sun set over the Montana hills. I told him everything, the prescription, the confrontation, the affair, the pregnancy, Jennifer's demand that I step up, the shift schedules, the HIPAA violations. Ben listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "What do you want to do?" he asked. "I don't know. That's why I'm here." "No," Ben said. "You know. You just don't want to say it yet." He was right. I did know. I'd known since I found that badge, since I saw those shift schedules. Maybe I'd known since the moment I filled that prescription. "I want out," I said. The words felt strange in my mouth, heavy, final. "I want a divorce." "Okay, but Rachel, the party, the whole town." "Thomas," Ben interrupted, "you spent 27 years making yourself small to keep the peace. How's that working out?" I thought about the Letterman jacket in my closet, the one that still fit. "Not great," I admitted, "so maybe it's time to stop being small." We sat in silence, watching the sunset. Then Ben said, "You remember when Dad left?" Our father had abandoned the family when I was 10 and Ben was 7. Just walked out one day, never came back. "Yeah," I said, "you swore you'd never be like him. You swore you'd never leave your family." "I remember." "But Thomas," Ben said, "staying in a lie isn't the same as staying for your family. Sometimes leaving is the only way to stay yourself." I drove home that night thinking about my father, about the promises I'd made, about the difference between abandoning people and refusing to abandon yourself. Monday morning, I went to work early again. The hospital was quiet at 5 a.m. I made coffee in the pharmacy break room, but instead of sitting at my desk, I walked down to the ER. Dr. Caldwell's office was at the end of the hall. Chief of Emergency Medicine had a private office, rare in a small hospital like ours. The door was closed but not locked. I went in. His desk was neat, organized, medical journals stacked precisely, awards on the wall, outstanding trauma care, Physician of the Year, a photo of him at some conference shaking hands with someone important. I was looking for the printer paper. At least that's what I'd tell myself later. The drawer stuck. I tugged harder. It spilled open. And there, beneath a stack of ministry magazines, was a silver cross necklace. Small cross pendant on an 18-inch chain, sterling silver. Delicate. I picked it up, saw the distinctive broken clasp, the one I'd always meant to fix but never did. I'd given this necklace to Jennifer on our 10th anniversary. She'd worn it every day for 15 years. Then, 6 months ago, she stopped, said it was too old-fashioned. But she hadn't thrown it away. She'd given it to him, or left it here. The clasp clicked in my hand, that distinctive sound. I stood in Caldwell's office, holding my anniversary gift to my wife, and something cold settled in my chest. She wasn't losing her faith. She was giving it to someone else. I put the necklace in my pocket, closed the drawer, left the office. At 7 a.m., the ER day shift arrived. Caldwell came in through the main entrance, coffee in hand, looking relaxed. He saw me standing by the nurse's station. "Thomas," he said, "early morning. Need to talk to you." "Sure. My office?" "Here's fine." He glanced around. The ER was filling up, nurses prepping for handoff, EMTs bringing in a patient. "Maybe somewhere more private." "Here's fine," I repeated. He set his coffee down, studied me. "Okay." I pulled out the shift schedule clipboard, the one I'd gotten from administration, 3 months of printed schedules. I'd highlighted every Tuesday and Thursday. You and Jennifer have been working the same shifts for 10 months, I said, every Tuesday, every Thursday, 76 overnight shifts, together. Caldwell's expression didn't change. We're both on the ER schedule. It's not unusual. It's unusual when the charge nurse systematically requests shift changes to align with the chief physician, when those changes happen every single week for 10 months. Thomas, he said quietly, this isn't the place. You're right, I said, and the place was probably the Hampton Hotel on Route 12, or maybe the break room here, or maybe your office where I found this. I pulled out the silver cross necklace, let it dangle between us. The broken clasp caught the fluorescent light. Caldwell's face went pale. That's Jennifer's, he said. I know, I gave it to her 15 years ago for our 10th anniversary. 2 nurses had stopped talking, were watching us. I didn't care. What happens between Jennifer and me is complicated, Caldwell said, voice low. You wouldn't understand the connection we have, the intensity of working in the ER, I wouldn't understand, I interrupted. Because I'm what? Too simple? Too small town? Too beneath you to comprehend my own wife's betrayal? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. I put the necklace back in my pocket, held up the shift schedules. This is going to the hospital board. HEPA violations, inappropriate relationships between supervisors and subordinates, systematic manipulation of staff schedules. You can explain it to them. I walked away, left him standing there. My hands were shaking, but my voice had been steady. It felt good, being not small. That afternoon, I was restocking inventory when Melissa knocked on my office door. Boss, there's someone here to see you. Says it's personal. Susan Morrison walked into my office. Jennifer's mother, 71 years old, retired elementary school teacher. She'd taught half the kids in Cedar Falls, including me. I'd known her for 32 years, longer than I'd known Jennifer. Susan, I said, surprised. Is everything okay? I need to talk to you, Thomas, not here. Can you take a break? We walked to Main Street Coffee Shop, Cedar Falls' social hub, the place where everyone went, where everyone would see us. Susan ordered coffee. We sat at a corner booth. She folded her hands on the table. Jennifer told me, she said, about the baby, about Mike Caldwell. I stared at my coffee. I'm sorry you had to find out. Don't apologize, Thomas. You didn't do anything wrong. She paused. I came here because I need to say something, and I need to say it where people can hear me. She raised her voice slightly, not shouting, just projecting the way teachers do. Thomas, I raised my daughter better than this. She's wrong. What she's doing is wrong, and I want you to know, I want everyone to know, you have my support. The coffee shop went quiet. 8 or 10 other patrons, Cheryl from the bank, Mike from the hardware store, Principal Edwards, all listening. This is a small town, Susan continued, still loud enough to carry. People talk. They're going to talk anyway. Might as well give them something true to talk about. My daughter had an affair. She's pregnant with another man's child, and she asked her husband of 27 years to pretend it's his. She looked directly at me. That's wrong, Thomas, and everyone in this town knows where I stand. I stand with you. I couldn't speak. My throat was too tight. Susan reached across the table, took my hand. You're a good man. You've been a good husband, a good father, and you deserve better than this. Cheryl from the bank was crying. Principal Edwards nodded. Mike from the hardware store raised his coffee cup slightly. In Cedar Falls, when Jennifer Morrison's own mother sided against her daughter, that meant something. Thank you, I managed to say. Susan squeezed my hand. Now, what do you need? I need to know if I'm doing the right thing. Divorce? In 6 weeks, Rachel's graduation party. Rachel's a grown woman, Susan said. She's 26. She's about to be a doctor. You're not protecting her by lying to her. You're teaching her that lies are acceptable if they're convenient. But the party will happen. Or won't happen. But either way, it'll be honest. Susan released my hand. Thomas, I taught first grade for 40 years. You know what I learned? Kids can handle truth. It's the lies that destroy them. I drove back to the hospital. In the parking lot, I sat in my car for a long moment. Then I pulled out my phone, ordered a paternity test kit online, next day delivery, because I needed proof. Not for me, I already knew, but for the divorce, for the hospital board, for when people ask questions. The kit arrived Tuesday afternoon, white medical envelope with a barcode, 2 sealed cotton swabs, lab requisition form, prepaid shipping label. Jennifer found it on the kitchen counter that evening when she got home from her shift. "You're really going to do this," she said, "after everything I've given to this family?" "You gave me a lot of things," I said, "but truth wasn't one of them." She left the room. I heard her on the phone in the bedroom, talking to Caldwell probably. I didn't care. I swabbed my cheek, sealed it, mailed it the next morning. Wednesday night, I couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m., I drove back to the hospital, used my pharmacy director access to get in. The building was quiet, just night shift skeleton crew. I went to the hospital lab on the second floor, logged into the system, ordered the paternity test results. They'd come back that afternoon, but I hadn't looked yet, hadn't been ready. Now I was. I pulled up the file, hit print. The printer hummed in the empty lab. The paper came out warm, that specific warmth of a laser printer, slightly damp with toner. Riverside Regional Medical Center, Laboratory Services. Patient, Hayes Thomas E. Tess. Type, paternity analysis. And there, highlighted in yellow by whoever had processed it, probability of paternity, 0.0%, 0.00. Not unlikely, not low probability, 0. The paper made a sharp sound when I held it up to the light. Crisp, official, irreversible. It smelled like chemicals, like truth. I'd known, of course. I'd known since I filled that prescription. But knowledge and proof, they're different kinds of pain. I folded the paper, put it in my pocket with the silver cross necklace and Jennifer's badge. Evidence, a growing collection of proof. I sat in the empty lab for a while. The fluorescent lights hummed. Somewhere in the hospital, a monitor beeped. Normal sounds, night shift sounds, but nothing felt normal anymore. Thursday evening, my phone rang. Rachel, video call. I almost didn't answer, wasn't sure I could hold it together, but I did. Her face filled the screen. Bright, excited, my daughter, moving boxes visible behind her in her Seattle apartment, getting ready for residency. "Dad, I'm so glad I caught you." "Hey, honey, how are you?" "Great." "Exhausted from packing, but great. Listen, I wanted to talk about the party. Mom's been working on this amazing slideshow, 27 years of photos. It's going to make everyone cry. The good kind of crying, you know?" I held the phone steady, tried to smile. "And I've been writing my speech," Rachel continued, "about what you and Mom taught me, about commitment, about serving your community for decades, about building a life together. I told my residency director that my parents are why I still believe in love." My throat closed. "Dad, you okay? You look tired." "Just work stress," I managed. "Well, don't work too hard. Only 3 weeks until the party. 3 weeks until I get to celebrate you and Mom in front of everyone. I'm so proud of you guys." In the next room, I could hear Jennifer, on the phone again, laughing, her voice carrying through the wall, with him. "Dad," Rachel said, "you still there?" "Yeah, honey, I'm here." "Okay, good. Love you. Talk soon." The call ended. I stared at the blank screen. Rachel's match day envelope sat on my desk. The one announcing her residency placement, Seattle Children's Hospital, the achievements she'd worked for all through medical school, the celebration we'd been planning. 27 years of love, Jennifer had called it in that slideshow. I had 3 weeks to decide. Tell my daughter the truth or smile at that party and become the lie. I picked up the envelope, thick cardstock, embossed university seal. "Congratulations," visible through the window. Rachel's entire future condensed into one piece of paper. I thought about Susan Morrison in that coffee shop, about my brother Ben on his porch, about the Letterman jacket hanging in my closet, about the paternity test in my pocket, about the difference between protecting someone and protecting a lie. I set down the envelope, picked up my phone, opened my contacts, stared at the name I needed to call, divorce attorney. My finger hovered over the number. This was it. This was the line. Once I called, everything would change. Rachel would know. The town would know. 27 years would end not with celebration, but with lawyers and paperwork and the kind of scandal Cedar Falls would talk about for years. This is a small town. People talk. Jennifer had used that phrase like a weapon, like shame was worse than truth, like my fear of gossip was stronger than my need for self-respect. But Susan had said it too, said it differently. People talk anyway, might as well give them something true to talk about. I pressed the number. It rang. Mitchell & Associates law firm. Yes, I said, I need to schedule a consultation for a divorce. Friday morning, April 12th, I walked into Mitchell & Associates law firm in downtown Cedar Falls. The receptionist was Mary Henderson, the same Mary Henderson whose blood pressure medication I'd filled a month ago, the same Mary I'd known since kindergarten. She looked up from her desk, recognized me. Her expression shifted, pity, understanding, something else. Thomas Hayes, she said softly. I heard, I'm so sorry. In Cedar Falls, everyone already knew. I need to file for divorce, I said. About time, Mary said. She handed me the forms. I spent 2 hours with the attorney, showed him the evidence, the paternity test results, the shift schedules, Jennifer's badge with the HIPAA violation access logs, the Silver Cross necklace, explained everything. The affair, the pregnancy, Jennifer's demand that I step up. The attorney was thorough, asked hard questions, took notes. This is Montana, he said finally. No-fault divorce state, but with evidence of adultery we can expedite. The prenatal prescription alone establishes timeline. The paternity test is conclusive. You won't have any trouble here, Mr. Hayes. What about the HIPAA violations? I asked. That's federal. You'll need to report to the hospital's compliance office. They're required to investigate. That could affect her employment, her nursing license. Are you sure you want to pursue that? I thought about Caldwell toasting me across the conference room, about Jennifer saying, step up, like I was the problem, about 10 months of scheduled deception. I'm sure. Then we'll file today. I left the law office, drove directly to the hospital, went to the 4th floor, administration, Dr. Patricia Reeves's office. Her secretary said Dr. Reeves was in a meeting, but I said I'd wait. 20 minutes later, the door opened. Thomas, Dr. Reeves said, surprised, is everything all right? I need to file a formal complaint with hospital compliance. Her expression changed. Come in. I laid out the evidence on her desk, the badge, the access logs, the shift schedules, explained the relationship between Dr. Caldwell, Chief of Emergency Medicine, Supervisor, and Jennifer Hayes, ER charge nurse subordinate, explained the systematic manipulation of schedules, the HIPAA violations, the affair. Dr. Reeves studied the documents. Her face was grave. Thomas, she said carefully, you understand what you're doing here. This isn't just about your marriage. This is about Jennifer's career, her nursing license, federal regulations. I understand. And Dr. Caldwell's position, I understand that too. She looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. This is serious. These access logs, accessing employee records without clinical necessity, is a federal offense. And a supervisor-subordinate relationship that includes schedule manipulation. She shook her head. I'm required to investigate. This goes beyond your marriage, Thomas. This is institutional liability. I know. I'll convene a committee. We'll need to interview staff, review records. It'll take about a week, maybe 2. Rachel's graduation party is April 26th, I said, 2 weeks from today. Dr. Reeves understood. We'll move quickly. I left her office, went down to the pharmacy. Melissa was at the counter helping a patient. She saw me, smiled, but the smile was strained. She'd heard something. Everyone had. I went into my office, started packing. Personal items, the coffee mug, photos of Rachel. My pharmacy license on the wall, 26 years in this hospital, awards, certificates, a career condensed into 3 cardboard boxes. The wedding photo sat face down on my desk. I left it there. At 4 p.m., I drove the boxes to Benjamin's ranch. He'd offered me his guest room until I found a place of my own. It wasn't much, a bed, a dresser, a window overlooking the Montana hills. But it was honest. Clean. Mine. You okay? Ben asked, helping me unload. No, but I will be. That evening, I sat on Ben's porch, called Rachel. My hands were shaking. This was it. The conversation I'd been dreading for 3 weeks. She answered on the second ring, video call. Her face filled the screen, bright, excited, surrounded by moving boxes in her Seattle apartment. Dad, what's up? Rachel, honey, I need to talk to you about something. It's important. Her smile faded. Is everything okay? Are you sick? I'm not sick, but can you sit down? She sat, the camera steadied. Dad, you're scaring me. I took a breath. Your mother and I are getting divorced. Silence. Her face went blank. Processing. What? Why? What happened? Your mother had an affair. She's pregnant. The baby isn't mine. More silence. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. That can't be. Mom wouldn't. I pulled out my phone, showed her the paternity test results, the screen. Probability of paternity, 0.0%. Rachel stared. Her hand went to her mouth. It's Dr. Caldwell, I said quietly. Chief of emergency medicine at the hospital. They've been seeing each other for 10 months. She asked me to raise the baby, to pretend it was mine, so no one would know, so the party could go on as planned. The party, Rachel whispered, the slideshow, 27 years of love. That's what she called it. I'm sorry, honey. I'm so sorry you had to find out like this. Rachel was crying now, full, body-shaking sobs. I told everyone. I told my residency director that you and Mom were why I still believe in love. I wrote essays about you guys, about commitment, about... She couldn't finish. Rachel, I said, and my own voice was breaking. Listen to me. I know this hurts. I know this changes everything you thought you knew, but I need you to understand something. She looked up, tears streaming down her face. I told my residency director that my parents taught me about commitment. I continued. Was that a lie, Dad? Was everything a lie? No, I said firmly. No, honey, I'm teaching you about commitment right now. Real commitment. Commitment to truth, even when it costs everything. Commitment to self-respect. Commitment to not accepting betrayal just because it's convenient. She wiped her face. What about the party? It's your choice. We can cancel it, postpone it, or we can have it, honestly. Not with the fake slideshow and the fake happy family, but with the real one, the messy, broken, honest one. I don't know what I want, Rachel said. That's okay. You have time to decide. Mom called me yesterday, Rachel said. She told me you were having a breakdown, that the stress of work was making you paranoid, that you were saying crazy things about her and Dr. Caldwell. She said we might need to postpone the party until you were stable. The manipulation, the gaslighting, even to our daughter. I'm not having a breakdown, I said. I'm having a breakthrough. Rachel laughed, a wet, broken sound. That's terrible, Dad. Yeah, but it's true. We talked for another hour. She cried. I cried. She asked questions. I answered honestly. Eventually, she said, I need time to process this. Can I call you tomorrow? Of course. I love you, honey. I love you too, Dad. And Dad, thank you for telling me, for not making me live a lie. The call ended. I sat on Ben's porch in the dark. Exhausted, empty, but clean. 3 days later, on a Tuesday, Rachel called back. "I talked to Mom," she said. "It was bad. She's angry. At you. At me. She said I was betraying her by believing you. But I don't care. Dad, I'm coming home early. I'm flying in on April 23rd instead of the 25th. And we're having the party. But Mom's not invited." Rachel, "No. Dad. This is my party, my graduation, my achievement. And I want to celebrate with people who are honest, who showed up, who did the right thing, even when it was hard." She paused. "Can Uncle Ben walk me down the aisle? I mean, not literally an aisle, but you know what I mean. Can he stand with us?" "I'm sure he'd be honored." "Good, because you're both my family now, the real kind." Thursday, April 24th, the Cedar Falls Gazette came out. I was at Ben's ranch when Susan Morrison called. "Thomas, have you seen the paper?" "No. What?" "Front page. Hospital announces leadership changes." They ran the story. I drove into town, bought a copy at the general store. The newspaper was thin, 16 pages, black and white photos, printed on newsprint. It smelled like ink, made a rustling sound when I opened it. Front page, hospital announces leadership changes. Dr. Michael Caldwell, Chief of Emergency Medicine, will not renew his contract with Riverside Regional Medical Center. The hospital board cited policy violations and professional conduct concerns in their decision not to extend Dr. Caldwell's tenure beyond May 1st. Additionally, Jennifer Hayes, RN, ER charge nurse, has accepted a position at Billings General Hospital and will be leaving Riverside Regional effective May 15th. Thomas Hayes, Director of Pharmacy for 26 years, will be taking early retirement effective April 30th. "We thank all three for their service and wish them well in their future endeavors," said Dr. Patricia Reeves, Chief of Staff. The article was dry, professional, but everyone in Cedar Falls knew how to read between the lines. Policy violations, professional conduct concerns, the timing, all three leaving at once. In a town of 8,200 people where everyone reads the Thursday Gazette, the truth was now public record. My phone started buzzing. Texts from people I'd known for decades, co-workers, church members, people from Rachel's class in high school, the grocery store clerk, the librarian. Most of them said the same thing. "I'm on your side. You did the right thing. Proud of you." Susan called again. "The whole town knows now, Thomas. And you know what? They're on your side. You didn't have to tell everyone. The truth told itself." Saturday, April 26th, Rachel's graduation party. The community center was decorated with blue and gold, University of Washington colors. Not 200 guests anymore, maybe 150. Jennifer's side of the family mostly stayed away. But the ones who came, they came for the right reasons. I wore my high school Letterman jacket, maroon and gold, Cedar Falls Mountain Lions, Hayes 85 on the back. First time in 33 years. The wool was heavy on my shoulders, real, substantial. People noticed, some smiled, some asked about it. I told them, figured it was time to remember who I was at 18, before I learned to make myself small. Rachel arrived with Uncle Ben. She was wearing her white coat, the one from medical school. Professional, proud. When she saw me in the jacket, she burst into tears. "Dad, you look like you again." We hugged, long and tight, my daughter, my team. The party started, food, music, conversation. People kept coming up to me, shaking my hand, saying quiet things. "Proud of you." That took courage. "You did right." Melissa Rodriguez brought her family. Dr. Patricia Reeves came. Susan Morrison sat with Ben and me, holding court, telling anyone who'd listen, "My son-in-law is twice the person my daughter deserves." Father Andrew Walsh from the church gave a blessing, said something about truth setting us free, about integrity being forged in fire, about how the strongest steel is tempered by the hottest flames. At 7 p.m., Rachel stood up to give her speech. The room went quiet. She stood at the microphone, looked directly at me. I wrote a different speech, she said. About 3 weeks ago, it was about my parents, about 27 years of love, about what they taught me about commitment and partnership and building a life together. She paused. Then I learned something. I learned that love isn't staying in a lie. Love isn't making yourself small to keep the peace. Love isn't accepting betrayal because it's convenient. People shifted in their seats. Everyone knew the story by now. My dad taught me something in the last 3 weeks, Rachel continued. He taught me that integrity isn't about never falling. It's about standing back up even when the whole town is watching. Even when standing up means everything breaks. Even when the truth is harder than the lie. She looked at me, tears in her eyes. Dad, I've been writing medical school essays about you for 4 years. About how you served this community. About how you were steady and reliable and always showed up. But I didn't understand. I didn't really understand until now. She wiped her face. You've served Cedar Falls for 26 years. You filled our prescriptions. You knew our names. You showed up at 5 a.m. and stayed late and never complained. And when you had every reason to make a scene, to be bitter, to burn it all down, you didn't. You just told the truth. And let the truth do the work. Rachel's voice broke. Dad, thank you. Thank you for not making me live a lie. Thank you for showing me what real strength looks like. Thank you for teaching me that doing the right thing isn't about never falling. It's about standing back up even when the whole town is watching. The room erupted in applause. People stood. Ben was crying. Susan was crying. I was crying. Rachel came over, hugged me. I'm so proud to be your daughter. I'm proud to be your father, I said. Later, as the party wound down, Rachel pulled something out of her bag. 2 coffee mugs, white ceramic. One said world's best team in child handwriting, the one she'd made at age 8. The other was new, clearly painted recently in the same style. World's best team 2.0 with 2 stick figures, one tall, one short, holding hands. I made us a new set, Rachel said, because we're still a team, Dad, just a different team, an honest one. I held the mugs. The ceramic was cool, smooth, real. Teams don't lie, Rachel said, but we're still a team, you and me. That's the team that lasts. People started leaving, saying goodbye, promising to stay in touch. Susan hugged me for a long time. You taught my granddaughter what I couldn't teach my daughter, she said. That's a gift. Ben helped clean up. Melissa and her family stayed late, boxing up decorations. Father Walsh blessed us one more time. Go in peace, Thomas. You've earned it. I walked out to my car around 10 p.m. The Montana sky was clear, stars everywhere. Cold April night. I stood in the parking lot for a moment, breathing the clean air. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Dr. Patricia Reeves. Official notification. Your early retirement is effective Monday, April 28th. Your pension and benefits are secure. Thank you for 26 years of service. One more thing. The board met today. We're expanding the pharmacy department. New director starts in June. But we'd like to offer you a consulting position. Part-time, no pressure. Help train the new staff. If you're interested, call me. I stared at the text. A consulting position. Still part of the hospital. Still serving the community. But on my terms. I texted back. I'll think about it. Thank you. Sunday morning, April 27th, I drove to the hospital one last time. Not as director of pharmacy, just to say goodbye. The building was quiet. Sunday morning skeleton crew. I used my badge to get in, walked through the corridors, past the ER, quiet now, past the conference room where I'd sat for 1,000 meetings, past Dr. Reeves's office, past the computer lab where I'd discovered the HIPAA violations. I went down to the pharmacy on the first floor. Melissa was there, working Sunday shift. She looked up when I came in. Boss, what are you doing here? Just saying goodbye. She came around the counter, hugged me. You know everyone here is on your side, right? Like everyone. We're all so proud of you. Thanks, Melissa. And hey, Dr. Reeves told me about the consulting offer. You should take it. We need you. Maybe. We'll see. I walked through the pharmacy one more time. My office, empty now except for the face-down wedding photo on the desk. I picked it up, looked at those two 22-year-olds on the church steps. They had no idea what was coming. But they'd tried. They'd built something. They'd raised an incredible daughter. And when it broke, when it finally irreversibly broke, one of them had the courage to stand up and say, enough. I put the photo in the trash. Then I walked out. Locked the pharmacy door for the last time. The keys jingled in my hand, heavy brass, worn smooth from 26 years. I handed them to Melissa. Your turn now, I said. Outside, the sun was rising over Cedar Falls, Montana sky turning pink and gold. The hospital parking lot was empty except for my car. I stood there for a moment, breathing. Jennifer had told me once, "This is a small town. People talk." She was right. People did talk. But here's what I learned. In a small town, people also know the truth when they see it. They knew me for 51 years before this happened. They'd know me after. And when they talked, when they whispered at the coffee shop and the grocery store and the church, they'd say, Thomas Hayes told the truth. Thomas Hayes did the right thing. Thomas Hayes stood back up. I got in my car, drove out of the parking lot, past Main Street, past the community center where Rachel's party had been, past the coffee shop where Susan had declared her support, past my old house on Maple Street, Jennifer's house now, past the high school where I'd worn that Letterman jacket 3 decades ago, past all of it. I drove to Ben's ranch, parked, sat on the porch with coffee as the sun climbed higher. My phone buzzed. Rachel, flying back to Seattle today, starting residency prep. Love you, Dad. Thank you for everything. We're a team. The best team. I smiled. Typed back, we're a team, always. Then I sat back, watched the Montana hills turn gold in the morning light. Leaving isn't giving up. Sometimes leaving is the only way to stay yourself. And Rachel and I, we redefined what team means. Not who you're born to, but who shows up when it costs them something. If you've built your own chosen family, if you've had someone stand by you when the whole town was watching, tell me about them in the comments. Who's on your team? And if this story moved you, if you want more stories about finding your voice when everyone expects you to stay quiet, subscribe. I tell stories about small town courage. I'll see you in the next one. I finished my coffee, set the mug down, the World's Best Team 2.0 mug Rachel had made, stood up, stretched. The jacket still fit. I still fit. And somewhere in Seattle, my daughter was packing for her residency, carrying the lessons forward, teaching her patients someday about integrity, about standing up, about the difference between keeping the peace and keeping yourself. That was enough. That was everything. I walked inside, started making breakfast. Ben came out of his room, saw me, smiled. You okay? He asked. Yeah, I said. Yeah, I really am. Outside, the sun kept rising over Cedar Falls, the small town where everyone knew my name, my story, my shame, and chose to see my strength instead. This is a small town. People talk. And you know what? I'm glad they do.